coming right there.
Oh, hey guys, you know I'm big with precious metals, silver, obviously lead and brass, right? But I'm also a big fan of gold. This video today is sponsored by Acre Gold, right? So don't break the bank. You start buying gold from just $50 a month and then you watch your gold grow. Acre Gold keeps you up to date on how that gold stash is making progress. Once your gold stash reaches the price of a 2.5 gram Acre Gold Bar, they discreetly ship your gold to you. This is the perfect size for sticking in your EDC belt. It's safe, it's secure, it's easy. Acre Gold, guys. You can use our affiliate code listed underneath the video. Hey gents, welcome back to Tactical Rifleman. I am here with an old Army buddy of mine named Seaux Larreau. Now, if you've heard any of my stories about combat, a lot of them involved this one particular gentleman literally break glass in time of jackassery. I just can't say enough about the guy. You either hate him or you hate him so much that you love him. There's no in the middle with Seaux Larreau, but I consider him not just a personal friend. I consider him a American treasure, an icon. The guy is awesome. Seaux, I won't tell you that. I won't tell him that to his face because I don't want him pumping his ego up. But Seaux's awesome. He really is. Now, Seaux has a lot of God-given gifts. One of them is he's the greatest tracker I've ever met. Now, that sounds like I haven't met very many trackers. I got that. But there are literally only a few people in this great nation that have actually been sought out specifically by name to do tracking, whether it's finding missing persons, things like that out in the wilderness. Seaux has not just a sniper background, he's big into the whole mountain man side of the thing. So yeah, ask him about the time he threw the tomahawk at me in the middle of a combat zone and it took a chunk of concrete out the size of a softball. We have history, But besides all of that, he's literally the greatest tracker I've ever met. So I want to give you guys a taste of that. We're going to start off to an introduction of tracking. All right, so I'm out here with Seaux. Seaux, how are you doing, brother?
Not so good. I gotta give up this new career of mine. I'm not the high-end gigolo I thought I was. So.
Not gonna quit that day job
yeah,
now.
The advertising's not doing so well. So. Anyway, so if we're gonna talk about tracking, the objective of this video is to show you guys how easy it is to learn how to track. So first we gotta get in one with the environment and bring up the gods from the soil and talk to Mother Nature. Nah, that's bullshit. No. Tracking is a learned skill. You have to learn it. You're not inherited with it. It's not one with the earth and anything like that. What you got to do is understand that no one's born with the ability to track. It's something that you have to learn and something you have to apply patience and perseverance to, all right? The history of tracking is as old as, it's probably the second oldest profession. We all know what the first is, but the second oldest profession, and it's as old as military fighting as itself, or hunting and gathering, right? For the American side, it goes all the way back to, the Revolution, and here we are in the Piedmont and stuff like that, North Carolina, South Carolina border. A lot of trackers got their skills from, the white man trackers got their skills from the Cherokee, but out west where I'm from, you got the John Johnson, Bill Williams, and all those kind of guys. Kit Carson's probably the most famous one here in the United States. Yeah. The Carson name is probably the second only to the name of Washington. And there's all kinds of things that are named after Carson. Uneducated, short guy, but his tracking ability was awesome. And he really made a name for himself. The other guy that you probably haven't heard so much about, his name was Frederick Russell Burnham, and he's probably the first Green Beret ever. Back during the Apache Indian Wars, where we got our cross arrow symbol from, he was actually with the tracking teams that were led by the White Mountain Apaches. He was 18 or 19 years old. Of course, Geronimo was surrendered within a year or two after he started his tracking. And when he got into his late 30s, early 40s, he actually went to Africa as an immigrant. He met Cecil Rhodes. He was part of creating Rhodesia, and then he fought in the Boer Wars. And Lord Powell was so impressed with him that he started what's called the Boy Scouts, and they were in England, and that's why it's called Boy Scouts of America. They brought it back to America, and Frederick Russell Burnham, with his tracking ability, was known as the father of the Boy Scouts of America. All right. Who uses tracking in modern times is probably your law enforcement, military, and your search and rescue. That's kind of backwards because the military doesn't really have an actual institutionalized school that teaches tracking. Neither does law enforcement. And what is tracking, right? Why track? Tracking is nothing more than physical evidence of the passage of human or animal, all right? All right, probably the number one reason why we want to institute tracking and create trackers is all the wasted assets that can be created by either law enforcement or military looking in the wrong direction or a wide area. The number one reason that you want to get a tracker on the scene for anything, military or law enforcement, is just give the upper echelons and the higher command a direction to travel, so all those assets can be used in the right direction. 1 hour of travel, a guy can go 2 miles. That's for if you have to search for that perpetrator or that lost individual.
In every direction.
That equals 12 square miles.
Yeah.
In 2 hours, that's 4 miles that he can travel in one direction, but it adds up to 50 square miles. 3 hours, 113.1, right? Our manuals used to have tracking in them.
Yeah.
Tracking patrols and stuff like that. What were the things we were looking for by just never seeing the enemy? We were looking for number of personnel, type of equipment, their intention, their level of motivation, and what their training level was. So that's why we want to learn how to track, right?
If you can narrow it down to what direction they go, now you're not doing as many square miles, you're just narrowing that corridor down.
Right, right.
Yep, for sure.
Tracking, teaching yourself to track is not a hard skill, and it doesn't take a lot of time. If you're like me, you got multiple divorces and things. The ladies keep putting you in the poorhouse. You don't need to take a lot of money to apply towards something like this. Probably the best example is putting $3,000 or $3,000 into your assault rifle and giving your fiance a $78 cubic zirconia engagement ring. You're probably going to be out learning how to track with no money, all right?
I seem to remember you having a much nicer tracking stick the last time we did this, Sue.
I have several tracking sticks, but that's what I wanted to let our audience know, that all I did was, on the way here, is I stopped at the dollar store. I got a bunch of skewers. These are $1 for a pack of these things. A couple dollars for some spray paint so I can mark some skewers for marking the track, all right? A tape measure, a low luminescent light, a notebook and paper so you can take your notes and keep, and then I went out with Mother Nature there, and I borrowed from Mother Nature a 3-foot tracking stick. All it needs to be is about 3 foot or a meter long. A meter is what? 39.4 inches. Thank you, Sniper Instructor.
You're welcome.
There you go. All right, and then I borrowed these ponytail holders from some Antifa guys that were wearing man buns, and I said, you can't have those because to have a bun, you have to be a man first, right? So I got a couple of those for little indicators there, and we'll talk about those in a minute.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know what's the best reference material, and there's books. There's books as long as your arm, the titles as long as your arm, all kinds of books on tracking and how to track and everything like that. But I started out my tracking career in the regimental recon when the 75th Ranger Regiment first started up. Our Colonel Downing at the time trusted our guys to go out and not ever see the enemy and just get off the indicators of the ground, what we saw on the ground, especially rest overnight positions of all those things I mentioned before. And then I went, when I was flunking out of college, I was a prison guard, and I was actually going on some of the prisoner escape team things, trying to get guys that were jump the fence. And years later, I went to SEER school, and I learned from Sergeant Major Nail, retired. He just passed away last week, God rest his soul. Probably the best guy was Joel Harden Professional Tracking Services, or at the time UTS. Joel Harden was the student of a guy named Ab Taylor, 30-year Border Patrol guy. He taught the search and rescue guys, and Don Cooper helped him write this book. And for you guys that want to know how to teach yourself how to track, this is probably the best one right here. This is the 3rd edition. Got a lot of pretty pictures in there for you millennials that don't like to read. It's Fundamentals of Tracking.
All right, I'm gonna add that title to the description underneath the video. I'm gonna add it to our book list. If you go to tacticalrifleman.com, you'll be able to see our book list right there. And to make sure you guys get to make sure you get the correct book. We're gonna get into some more, but before we do, we're gonna break, quick commercial. Oh, hey guys, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that commercial as much as I did. Now we are out and we're on a rough gravel road. I see I got a couple of prints, and then you've got skewers halfway across the road. What do you got going on here, Sue?
What I want to do is demonstrate how I learned how to track and how the Joel Harden Professional Tracking System works, or the step-by-step method that Ab Taylor talks about in the Fundamentals of Tracking. Okay? Probably the best advantage a tracker can have is knowing how to use the light to his advantage. All right? The best times of the day to track are early morning, late afternoon. All right? When the sun's up on top of the track, all your shadowing gets blown out. We're exactly opposite of where we should be, right? The sun's behind us. What we want to do is put the track between us and the sun. If you'll notice those, when you come around here, Carl, you'll notice that those shadows just pop right back out as you can see all the detail in your track.
Without a doubt. All right.
The other thing we want to talk about is the worst time of day to track, and that's after the sun goes down, all right? And you still have light, but your eyes can't adjust as fast as the light is fading. Mm-hmm. That's the time for a tracker to rest and refit. Get your water, get your flashlights, make sure all your batteries work. You can do some night tracking where you can control the light.
That's why you had that little flashlight in your pack. You're making your own shadows on the track.
That's right, that's right. And night tracking, we'll get into that later. But when you're learning how to track, use the light to your advantage. The other thing is angle of view. Both of us are pretty tall, right? I'm 6'4" of pure female fantasy, right? These baby blues, right, are a little bit high up here. All the paintings you see from the out west and everything, or the photos of trackers, they're usually down low. So that should tell you guys that especially when you're learning how to track, don't put a big heavy ruck on or a bunch of armor and stuff like that, because you're going to be up and down all the time, right? The Border Patrol that Ab Taylor and Joel Harden did, they used the old M151 Jeep that we used to have in the Army, and they would sit on the hood, and they actually put lights on the bumper, and the guy sitting on the hood would just go up the fire breaks out there in El Cajon, California, and they could see all the indicators of a road like this where somebody crossed the road.
So they could just roll down unlimited road mile after mile.
Right, and when they see those indicators, they'd go up to the other side. If they didn't see any tracks there, they knew the guy was inside that quadrangle of dirt roads.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
And what I've experienced in the past, especially out west in the arid conditions, is an ATV is a perfect height. You get on an ATV and you're the driver, and you're actually looking at the track, not driving over them. That's probably the best height right there, because you're actually down like this. You can see the tracks popping back at you, right? All right. The simple tools that we talked about are the tracking stick, the measuring tape, the pen and paper, all right? When you're learning how to track, what we want to do is we want to get 4 overall measurements.
Okay.
All right? So the first measurement is the overall length of the track.
All right.
So I see the heel right there, the toe there. So let's call that right at 13.
13.
All right.
All right.
The next measurement is across the ball of the foot, or the width of the sole. Okay.
All right.
And let's call that 4 3/4.
4 and 3/4.
And the width of the heel, and I got that at 3 5/8, 3 1/2.
3, which is it? 3 1/2?
3 5/8 is good.
3 and 5. I broke my lead. All right, keep going.
And if the guy's got a heel print, which we do, we got a good heel in here.
All right.
You want to get the length of the heel, which is right at 3 1/2.
3.5. Okay.
3.5, that's right. If the guy's wearing tennis shoes or running shoes, what we'll do is indicate a place where they call the instep void, and we'll just call that the heel length,
Okay.
right? So those are the 4 measurements we want to get, right? Then what we want to do is draw, and this is when you're learning how to track, you should always draw the print. I've had so many of my students come up to me and say, oh, I got this new camera and I just took a picture of it. What does that do for you, right? Nothing, okay? It captures the sole, and that's fantastic. What you're trying to do is learn how to track, right? So if you draw the track, it actually trains you and enforces and reinforces you how to pay attention to detail. All these little geometric shapes, look for 90-degree indicators and things like that. The things that you don't see in nature, right? That's what's going to tell you that that's human foot passage when you're out there in the grass or tall weeds and everything, and you see one of those triangles or those rectangles or just a 90-degree bend in there. That's going to tell you that that's the guy you've been trying to follow.
All right, now I'm trying to do, I'm doing this one here. Is that all right?
That's fine.
I got
Doing the left foot, yep.
a little, I think that's the right foot, isn't it?
Your right foot, yep.
All right.
My left.
All right, so I got these little lines up here and my pattern here, this big long one down the middle. I didn't see those.
Now what you try to do is you try to capture as much as you can here, okay? Or if you're just, when you're learning how to track, if you just have a partial, fill out as much as you can. He's got a partial here, but we can fill it in as we go down the line. And if you see something like these little nubs here, right down the middle of his,
Those.
we can fill that in later, right? Or you can fill that in later as you go.
And that
right?
would help me. So like that one, because they're curving, instead of curving this way, they're curving that way. That print right there is probably a
left foot.
left foot.
There you go.
I'm
there you
starting to
go.
get the hang of it. So I
Remember,
can't see the
a person walking, right? They leave 3,000 indicators every 18 to 20 inches every mile. So there's 3,000 indicators. Every time this guy goes a mile, there's 3,000 indicators that he actually passed through there, right? Takes us 3,000 steps per mile.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I've found the first 2.
Yep.
All right,
and
let's
you
keep
found
going.
the first 2 here. When you go to the next one, what you don't want to do is set up the tracking stick yet. You want to get 2 or 3 footprints or 2 or 3 prints into his stride.
All right.
Let him get in a comfortable stride line before you adjust your tracking stick. So
right.
I already marked the next one here at the heel. You got a good partial there. You got a slide. What you're looking for in each print is 5 indicators of why that's a print, okay? What you have here is rocks slowed out. You got compression there. See how that rock's been pushed in?
Yep.
Nice and hard. See this tuft up here? And then what you see is this is a darker color indicating the moisture in the soil underneath this top layer of hard soil on this tough road, right? And then you got your outside of the edge of your toe. It looks like he doesn't even put his heel down. It's just the toe up here, and you can see the outside of it. So there's 5 right there.
All right.
And we come to the next one. Now he's actually putting the heel down. Okay. And he's actually starting to get in there. You can see a little bit of this little groove in the back. So we know that big cleat is in the heel, right? And see where this tuft of grass came out?
Yeah.
That used to be right there, okay? Another indicator. And then you got, of course, the whole edge of the boot. You got compression there, the rocks, and then you got this one that slid all the way up there and out of socket.
So I was actually wrong. This back here that I thought was the right foot was actually the part of the heel here. So, all right. This is how we learn.
That's how we learn. That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'm going to draw that in.
Now, up in here is where we can start setting the tracking stick. We're about 3 steps into it, all right?
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to get, you see the next one up here at the heel, you want to put the end of the tracking stick right at the heel, okay? Or the one in front of it. Then you want to bring this one closest to your hand all the way back to the heel, okay?
Okay.
And actually you don't even need that one. That should tell you heel to heel. That's the length of your stride right there. And if you measured that, you can also have that. He's got about a 24-inch stride.
24-inch stride. Before we start moving here with your tracking stick, YouTube has informed me cordially that they would like another commercial break. We'll be right back. Oh, all right, guys, welcome back. We are still here with Seaux Larreau, the mule tool, and he's going to take you through the rest of his skewers here.
Where we're at now is now we can set up the tracking stick. This is probably one of the when you're learning how to track, this is probably the best thing that's going to help you. The tracking stick, like I said, needs to be about 1 meter or 3 feet long.
Yeah.
All right. We just borrowed this from a tree over there, but it can be a ski pole. It can be a cleaning rod. You want to make it light so you can keep it up high. You don't want something heavy. You don't want it too long, everything like that. And like I said, that's your stride length. When you put this tip to the heel of the footprint there, and back to the heel here, that's your overall stride length, which we got is 24 inches.
The last time you did this, trying to teach me how to do this because I don't learn well, you had screw-in cleaning rods, and he had the little O-rings off of like an air compressor or something, and
it was actually off your nods. That's why your nods went down.
Probably,
okay.
Probably. But that was a sexy tracking stick. This one's not so sexy, but it's still working, isn't it?
It's working.
Right.
It's working, and we got these ponytail holders here to save those guys from wearing a man bun.
There you go.
Trying to be Vikings. You can bring, now, this one up here, you can bring that down to the toe, okay? So if you only have a partial print somewhere up here, and all you can see is the toe, you can actually put the tracking stick closer to where it needs to be. So what you're trying to do is look over the tip of the stick for indicators of the next print. So we got that one there.
Okay.
We get our 5 indicators, rolled rocks, the same things in here, right? Got one here, got just a partial here. You see it's just mostly toe, okay?
And it matches.
And if you put that right there to here, it goes right to the heel of this one, all right? And that one has been run over. The next one has been run over real good.
But you can still,
can you see
a little bit, yeah.
Soil underneath the tire print is indicative, or just like all the darker soil in these footprints behind us. So that would tell me that footprint's right there.
Okay.
And you still got the compressed rock there, and you have compression up here around the toe. You can see the toe coming out of here. The tire track is actually over here, smaller car.
Okay.
Don't get frustrated if you get contamination along your sign line. There's no such thing as a clean slate on the earth.
So from the heel,
From
the next one should be right there.
Next one should be right there. I've already got it marked, but you can see that there's only a couple indicators. Remember I said try to get 5. As the track ages, if you don't get 5 indicators, the reason you want on fresh prints to get 5 is because as it ages, you're only getting to get 2 or 3, but you want in your mind's eye to convince yourself and have the confidence that's human footfall.
Yeah.
All right. the things that cause aging the most, other than cars running over them, direct sunlight and wind.
Okay.
Right? We're out here in the wind. That topsoil is real thin right here, real hard ground. So this is a few hours old. These tracks are 3 to 4 hours old. The wind's just going to blow that one away.
Okay.
But you still have the rolled rocks,
Yep.
and you can see some of the
Yeah,
90-degree
right there.
geometric
Yeah.
shapes in there. There's one of your cleat
Yep.
marks right in
Yeah.
there. All right.
So when we measure
So
from
that
that
would
one.
take you up to that one, which is obvious. You got all kinds of cleat marks there.
He scuffed the rocks there. Yeah.
And that's all, yeah, this almost, it looks like almost a campfire effect.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Now, you obviously see this rolled rock. You see
Yep.
your cleats in this last one right here.
Yep.
What we're going to do is give me your notebook.
Oh,
I'm going to hand the reins over to you. Actually, the tracking
the
stick.
tracking stick. All right, I'm going to that side so I can see it better.
There you go.
Right, 'cause I want the light.
That's using
right?
the light to your advantage.
I'm trying to use the light. All right, from the heel.
From the heel,
All right. And
going about a 60-degree arc.
All right. So it's going to be somewhere in this 60 degrees.
Yeah,
I
there
have
you go.
got
You're looking right
my
at it.
sign right there.
Give me.
And from heel, if that was the heel, that would be my toe. So my next one should be.
Wait a minute. Give me five indicators of why that's a print. You got
Wahid,
compression.
Itni,
You got rocks knocked
Yep.
out. You got a
Talata,
cleat mark.
Arba.
Now mark it.
Hamza.
Mark your heel where you think it should
Oh
be.
yeah, I forgot all about that. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? All right. Right there. Oh snap. All right, now that was a right foot, left foot. I got some right angle stuff here.
There you go.
All right, the edge of the boot, compression, and this rock has been displaced. So
It's out of the socket.
the
There
out
you
of
go.
the socket. All right, so we're gonna mark that one right there.
And then if you look up there, about 13 inches in front of it, you got one out of the socket up there. There's
I
your
do.
toe.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
That
Sue,
goes right. That goes right to your next one there.
Yeah, the next one, and from there, and I've even got that one.
Don't
up
jump
there.
ahead. Don't jump. Rule number 1 is don't jump to the next track until you've got all the indicators in the first one, right?
Now,
Remember, the tracks that are harder to see teach you more than the easy ones. If this was snow or sand, then anybody could be a tracker, right?
all right. Now, Sue, I'm getting the hang of this. All right, but again, it's been driven over a little bit. It's been, yeah, it's been driven over a lot here.
Yeah, you got some patience. The thing is, the things you need are patience, right? And I hear you. How long is that going to take?
Yeah.
If you got that kind of attitude, go home and slap your mother for raising a candy ass. All right. Patience, perseverance, a little bit of motivation, and common sense. It'll get you through this.
All right.
Again, it's a learned skill. It's not something you're born with.
I was gonna say that one is a little too far, and that's
No.
probably the cameraman. But
You're
it's
dead
got
on
the
it. That's
sa-
your.
it's got the
That's
same
why you
pattern.
drew it. That's why you drew it.
That's
Where's
why
it
I
at?
drew it, exactly.
There you go.
It is the opposite of the first one that I drew, and on this side, that would make it the left foot. So
See how you work through all that
I
contamination?
worked through that, you little prick. All right,
You get a cookie.
I'm getting the hang of it. I get a cookie. Thank you, Sue.
All right.
All right, I think I got the hang of it. I hope you got the hang of it. Now, Sue, I'm 4 feet from, I'm 10 feet from the grass. What do I do when I'm on the grass?
The grass is, that's groomed grass. That's, it's mowed and things like that. When we get in there, I'll show you some other indicators, right?
We are gonna jump to the grass next.
Okay, Carl, all that's really changed in here
All right.
is your color indicators. You went from a real light and a real bright, hard packed sort road. Now you've got a bunch of green hues, all right? Now look for the grass
Where
and
it's
the compression in the
compressed.
grass, and
Okay.
the grass interweaving with each other.
All right. All right.
Remember
so-
not to put your, do not, tracking
Don't
rule
put it
number
where I
2
see
when you're
the
learning is
sign.
don't put your fingers in it and destroy it.
Okay. All right. Now from there, this right here is where I think the track is, because I've got
How do
this
you know that's
heel
human?
plant because it drops off, so he put more weight. and it compresses and
Yeah,
crushes
without
that
touching
grass.
it, without touching it. Let me show you
Without
another
touching.
thing,
All
right?
Okay.
Remember the Michelangelo picture in all the college books and everything where he's stretched out like that?
Yep.
Or the human being is stretched out like that? Proportionally, the ball of the foot is the width of your fist.
Okay.
If you go across the ball of your foot, right there, without touching it, you can say, yeah, that's a human instead of a deer or
oh, yeah, okay.
or a river otter or something like that sliding across the grass.
And that's roughly that same dimension we wrote down in the book for the width of the heel.
That's right. So you look at your toe indicator all the way back to the point, you got 13 inches.
Awesome. So I'm going to mark it again. All right. Now,
Measurements are
Sue,
important. There you go.
we're starting to lose some light. All right, guys. Now I found that track, and I'm pretty sure I can see the next two. However, it's going to be awful hard for the camera to pick this up the way this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this up right here, Sue. Now, if you guys want to learn more of this, if you want to see more tracking stuff, Sue, you want to come back out and do more of this stuff?
Absolutely. We'll do some more videos. Just remember the rules of learning. Do not advance beyond the last known print until you see the next one. Don't destroy the evidence. Use a tracking stick. If you get lost, revert to rule number 1 and 2. Patience, perseverance, good observation, be honest with yourself, be motivated, and learn your flora and fauna, especially out here in the southeast. And you guys will find that just doing 100 yards of tracking, using these simple tools that I've just showed you, you'll learn more about tracking than took me 7 years to learn. I love the step-by-step method done by Joel Harden Professional Tracking Services in Patati. You can just Google JHPTS, or if you're from a law enforcement agency or a military unit, you can get a hold of Tactical Tracking Operations School with Peter Kerr, and here in North Carolina, you can go to Pineland Search and Rescue.
Awesome. All right, and don't forget, if you want to check out that book that Sue recommended, we're going to add it to our book list, and I'll have a link for it down underneath in the description. Sue, again, always a pleasure.
And to all you pretty ladies, I just can assure you one thing. When you wake up in the morning, you won't be the first woman that's disappointed with me.
On that note, you guys know the deal. Any comments at all, questions for this fine gentleman, this fine example of a waste of human carcass, Seaux Larreau, brother, you know, always a pleasure. Leave the comments below. I'll make sure Sue gets them. And Sue, we'll have you out again. More tracking videos down the road. Y'all take care and shoot straight. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on anything.